Good morning, everyone. I'm our beloved Kate's Uncle Joe. In 1963, Sidney Carter, an English poet and folk song master, wrote a hymn that he called "The Lord of the Dance." So often when I was thinking of Kate, especially in these last days, I thought of that hymn. If you'd like to hum along softly, you would be welcome to. I danced in the morning when the world was begun, and I danced in the moon and the stars and the sun, and I came down from heaven and I danced on the earth. At Bethlehem I had my birth. Dance then wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he. I'll lead you all wherever you may be. I will lead you all in the dance, said he. I danced on the Sabbath, and I cured the lame. The holy people, they said it was a shame. They whipped and they stripped, and they hung me high, and they left me there on a cross to die. Dance then wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he. I'll lead you all wherever you may be. I will lead you all in the dance, said he. They cut me down, and I leapt up high. I am the life that'll never, never die. I'll live in you, and you'll live in me. I am the Lord of the dance, said he. Dance then wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he. I'll lead you all wherever you may be. I will lead you all in the dance, said he. Dance then wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he. I'll lead you all wherever you may be. I will lead you all in the dance, said he. As Carter reflected on his life, he ended with these words: coming and going by the dance, I see that what I am is not a part of me. Dancing is all that I can ever trust. The dance is all, the rest is dust. I will believe my bones and live by what will go on dancing when my bones are not.
The kangaroo can jump incredible. He has to jump because he's edible. I could not eat a kangaroo, but many fine Australians do. Those with cookbooks, as well as boomerangs, prefer them in tasty kangaroo meringues.
It would be perfectly all right for you to applaud. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kate's dad, Dave Lieberth, and on behalf of Lynn and Alec and Emma and Joy and Jimmy, thank you for being with us today. Of all the theaters, stages, gymnasiums, and cafeteria floors that Kate performed on over her 20-year career in dance, this, the Civic, was the place that she loved the most. We have been simply overwhelmed by the amount of support that our family has received from the community these past several weeks. Starting with the teachers and parents at St. Paul's Preschool, to the people here at the Civic, to all the friends that we've made over the last 50 years that we have been in this community. The hardest aspect of all of this for us, and I expect for some of you, has been a question. How can a physically fit dancer teaching ballet classes and chasing 2 toddlers around in January be gone to us in March? We don't always realize, I think, that the difficult part of cancer is not necessarily the disease, but the treatment of it, the brutality with which chemotherapy attacks the entire body and renders it useless. But in the last 2 painful months for Kate, it never diminished her dignity or her remarkable wit. She had an edgy sense of humor, sometimes sardonic, often sarcastic, and we have no freaking way to know where she got that from. So why can we laugh and cry at the same time? 40 years ago, I lost a close friend, a 29-year-old woman who was a high school friend and a media colleague. And like Kate, she was very accomplished for her age. And like Kate, she attended the University of Utah. And like Kate, she died way too young from her disease. In trying to deal with the unfairness of her loss, I ran across a story from the rector of St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Akron, the Reverend George Ross. He said, "At moments like these, it's good for us to ask questions like, how can we be sad? Yesterday, we buried Kate at Glendale Cemetery. And how can we be happy today in celebration of her life? How do we grieve together and yet celebrate the laughter that marked Kate's life almost every day? She was really funny." Reverend Ross turned to an unusual source for inspiration. The Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey School for Clowns. On its entrance test, it asks prospective clowns 2 questions. When was the last time you cried? And do you like to dance? When was the last time we cried? Today, yesterday, every day for the last week. Pity the person, the pastor said, who does not experience the pain that comes from that gap between the way things are and the way things really ought to be. When was the last time we cried? Do you like to dance? Well, if this is a good question for clowns, it's even a better question for us. Kate loved to dance. The experience of the pain of sorrow and the experience of joy are mutually dependent, Reverend Ross said, like 2 legs on one body moving forward. Graceful movement requires the coordination of both legs, as every dancer knows. So today we can cry and we can laugh and we can share our joy as well. Many of you already know the story of how Kate started dancing. I wanted her to see the Ohio Ballet at its summer festival. Lynn was pregnant with Emma that August, and so she encouraged me and Kate, age 3 at the time, to walk down to Forest Lodge Park from our house on Mineola to see the ballet. And what I remember most is that after that performance that night, Kate started dancing all the way home, and she never stopped. And I suspect that's one of the reasons why that summer festival remains important to me today. Not everyone appreciated Kate's creative movement. I think it was probably in 4th grade when Lytton and I went for a parent-teacher conference, and the teacher told us how Kate could read better than the other kids in the class, how she was so good at math and science, how smart she was, but her behavior was terribly upsetting. We wanted to know because we weren't having any problems at home. She said, Kate refuses to walk from her seat to the front of the classroom. She always has to dance her way around the classroom. Lynn and I did high fives on the way out of the school that day. Then there was the Christmas after Emma was born. I wanted to take Kate to see Ohio Ballet's Christmas show at E.J. Thomas Hall. She seemed fascinated by the dancing on stage, but like all 5-year-olds, her attention began to wane. And suddenly she said, Daddy, Yes, I said, expecting a question about what was going on stage, the dancing, the stagecraft, the sets. The plot was a little hard to follow. Daddy, she said, did you know that turtles don't have ribs? There was a delightful quirkiness to Kate that everyone who knew her loved about her. When she was in elementary school at St. Sebastian's, she would stand on our front lawn, waiting for the kids from Simon Perkins Middle School to walk by and speaking to them in an English accent. We're laughing over here. She made up a whole story about her parents were from Great Britain. One of the best things that's happened these past weeks has really been what the rest of the world, what the rest of you have told us about Kate. We knew she was a good teacher, but her students have written notes to us about how they miss her. Parents have told us how Kate's classes changed their daughters' lives. Collectively, the community has revealed to us how many people depended on her, loved her, and miss her. Kate began to realize her full potential under the legendary Nan Klinger, who, when she was 11 years old, asked her to audition for the summer program at Chautauqua Institution. She went there 2 summers and then to the School of American Ballet in New York and Boston Ballet, Ballet Met in Columbus, and Ballet Austin in Texas. And that's why Lynn, Alec, Emma, and I have established a fund for young dancers at Akron Community Foundation from which we can award scholarships to young dancers for summer study. And of course, Kate lives on in 2 other important people. Genevieve is already a dancer, as you saw at the beginning of our program. And Kate got to see her perform on this stage just a month ago and was with her right over there backstage to help her with her costume and to make sure she had her entrance cue right. Genevieve is very much a little Miss Kate. And then there's Paige, whose 2nd birthday is coming up on April 23rd. We don't know if she's got the dancing gene yet, but she sure has the athletic gene, so she may end up as a mountain climber or a goalie on an NHL hockey team. We're not sure which. Our friend Jim Carney wrote an article for the Beacon Journal in 2012. Jim is here today. In which Jim labeled Kate the guru of dance at Google headquarters in Mountain View, California. You see, Kate may have been the only person in corporate America working full-time teaching dance classes and supervising about 200 group dance classes a week to Google employees around the world. This is what Kate said to Jim. Dance fulfills a very special need. Art makes your soul happy. And to have that opportunity at work, to finish your workday by dancing just an hour, people go home less stressed. And then she told Jim, I'm probably a better teacher than I was a dancer. To have a passion like ballet and to be able to give it to other people so other people love what you love, that is a huge reward. Thank you, friends, for being with us today in celebration of a short life well lived. Among the rewards of that kind that she received last year was setting a ballet on 16-year-old Cara Poblete, a sophomore at Walsh Jesuit High School. Kate took a piece of choreography from her friend Christopher Estes Brown and set it on Cara for the workshop for the Excellence in Dance Studio, and it's a tribute to Kate that Cara performs it now.
Good morning. I am Christina Foisey, and I am manager of Dance Institute, the pre-professional program at the University of Akron. I met Kate briefly in 2010, but it was not until several years later, when she and Alec relocated to Akron and began teaching for Dance Institute, that I had the chance to get to know her. Each time I would see Kate at Gazetta Hall, she was moving seamlessly to and from her family life and her teaching. On Tuesday afternoons, when traffic was light and she arrived with time to spare, we would sit in the office and visit. She would recount the latest stories about Genevieve and Paige, and occasionally, with a twinkle in her eyes and a smile, there would be a story about Alec, too. On Saturday mornings, she would arrive with Genevieve and Paige for Genevieve's storybook dance class. While Genevieve was in class, Paige would seize upon the opportunity to engage her mother in some excellent contact improv. Kate would stand patiently as Paige launched into a full-body grasp of her leg, followed by waddling through and around both legs several times. When class was finished, the three would make their way straight to the car and on to the next adventure of the day. As a teacher, Kate had her students dig down deep within themselves to build their strength and discipline and artistry. Her high expectations of them were exacted firmly and lovingly, and they were those that she had of herself as well. Work hard, believe in what you are doing, commit fully. Kate has given the students wonderful memories and a lifetime of inspiration. She asked a student one day to show the other students the way to correctly execute a jump. When the student fell, Kate wrinkled up her face and said, "Not that way." The students laughed as they told me this story, and as they talked about the crazy leggings and the purple vest she would wear to teach, the Halloween dance at the end of class, and of the sequence of 64 releves on point that, with a twinkle in her eyes and that smile, she told them were called the releves of happiness. Sometimes Kate could be seen peering around the edge of the studio doorway during storybook dance or around the edge of the wing onto the stage of the Heinz Pole Summer Dance Festival, trying to see to what extent Genevieve was dominating the moment and taking charge. She told me that when she watched Genevieve, she was seeing her own 3-year-old take-charge self. To me, Kate exuded an exquisite synthesis of grace and determination. I loved the clarity of her movement, of her thought, and of her sense of purpose. I, too, have been given wonderful memories and a lifetime of inspiration by Kate. I am honored and blessed to have known her and to be here with you today. Thank you.
We weren't always close. Being 4 years apart, I was often the annoying little sister. We did things to purposefully annoy each other or to get each other in trouble like most sisters do. Like the time she carved my name on my parents' new bread box so they thought it was me who did it. Emma in big letters on the front. Or the time she came into my room and told me that we had a snow day only to get my hopes up to find out there was no snow. But there was also the time when she was in the bathroom and I went in with a video camera, soon to have the door slammed in my face. Still hilarious video to our family 20 years later. We both loved to drive each other crazy, but that's, again, what sisters do. We couldn't have been more different. Kate was the girly ballerina who danced instead of walked. I was the tomboy who preferred being on a soccer field or a tennis court. She was tall, skinny, with dark hair. I was shorter, never been skinny, with blonde hair. She loved being in front of people while I would hide by the closest person. But through all of our differences, she's my big sister, the one I looked up to, the one whose opinion mattered over everybody else. We loved singing to Spice Girls and Billy Joel on the way home from school. Excuse me. On questions about life, jobs, love, friends, heartache, and cooking, she's my go-to. I could ask her if I was overreacting, and she'd give me an honest answer, and it was usually yes. I could explain to her any dilemma, and she would tell me what to do, and I likely did it. She could do no wrong to me. My big sister was the voice of reason for me, who taught me how to be strong when I wanted to be weak, and who told me to get over it when little things upset me. As we got older and she moved back to Akron, we became more than sisters, but we became friends. We spent many Friday nights at the Winking Lizard, ordering all flats and trying a new beer. I couldn't wait for her to meet my now husband, Nate, which is the ultimate test, and he passed. She told me all about the classes she taught and glowed when talking about the talent of her students. We made fun of our parents because no matter what age, some things will always be funny and nobody else will understand. We were planning a wedding for June 1st. She helped me pick the date. She picked my dress out for me in December. We made a Pinterest board. We picked flower girl dresses for Genevieve and Paige. When we learned on March 20th that she was going to be too sick, we made an Akron wedding date for yesterday, April 6th. When we learned last Thursday that she wouldn't make it to April 6th, my dad married Nate and I at her bedside at Akron General Hospital. And she smiled the whole time. Kate gave us Genevieve and Paige, her two proudest works of art. Genevieve, a spitting image of Kate with curly hair, big blue eyes, who is cautious, smart, and a natural dancer. Paigey, who is sweet and fearless, she loves cuddles and climbs all over everything. And Kate always called her little octopus. Kate also gave me a brother with Alec, the perfect partner for my sister and daddy to my nieces. There is no one I would have run by my sister's side the last year specifically also the last week. So thank you, Alec, for loving her so fiercely. Life has many chapters. Every day of my 34 years, through all the things that have come and gone through life, there was one thing that never changed, and that was that I had a big sister. On April 1st, my second chapter started. We talked the last month about this possible outcome, but we were hopeful that it wouldn't come to this. We talked last week in her final days, and even in her final hours, about it even more. She looked at me and she said, "I don't want to be buried in anything ugly. Don't let them bury me in something ugly." So we went out this week, we bought her a new dress, we gave her some new earrings, and it was just her style. She knew the heartache that my parents were going to experience and felt horrible about it. She was worried about Alec, but I promised her that he will be okay. And more than anything, she knew her babies would be taken care of and that they would be kind and brave women. Thank you, Kate, for being the best big sister in the world, who taught me how to love, have courage and strength, and she taught me how to be a wife and mother. I know you danced your way to the pearly gates where your tiara and the unicorns were waiting for you.
Good morning. I'm Elliot Mercer. Kate is one of my dearest friends, a friendship that has spanned over 12 years. We met the day that I auditioned for Company C Contemporary Ballet. When I was asked to talk about Kate, I felt that While I speak from my own experiences with her, I also bring with me the energy, support, memories, and deep love of everyone in Company C. We only worked together for a few short years, and it was over a decade ago, but this time cultivated a cherished group of friends. We danced together, lived together, enjoyed each other's company so much that we would spend 7 days a week together, and became so close that we could be considered a family. I've been comforted by the outpouring of love and support and the reminder of the closeness that Kate helped to cultivate between this group of people who've remained intimately connected even though we have since dispersed across the country. When together, we would always find ourselves on escapades. Kate had a way of always seeking out the thing that seemed the most theatrically ridiculous wherever we went. Among Company C, this inclination was intensified and reflected by each and every member of the company, which allowed us all to develop an endless string of absurd memories. When we were on tour, Kate would sarcastically suggest doing the kitschiest tourist activity possible. The conversation would inevitably progress like this. Hey, there's an old-time photo studio in Old Town Temecula where we can all dress in Civil War regalia. Why wouldn't we do that? We're totally doing it. Everyone, we are doing this. Get ready, we are leaving in 5 minutes. So 12 of us barge into the photo studio, completely overwhelm the local attendant as we turn the lobby into an impromptu changing room, throw off our clothes, and toss incongruous historical costumes at one another, then cram together into the tiny portrait studio for a family photo. We would latch on to memories like this, which we found so endlessly funny that we could bring ourselves nearly to tears with laughter retelling their story. We loved reliving these memories so much that on the day Kate and Alec were engaged, we all caravanned to another old-time portrait studio in Mendocino to take another family photo, as well as produce save-the-date pictures for their wedding. In both memories, Kate chose a frilly saloon girl outfit with a ruffled hat fancily pinned on crooked and a liquor bottle stuck in her bodice. Our friendship was made up of an ongoing series of incidents like this. Once, Kate and I, with Alec, drove down to Carmel to see Company C's director, Charlie, dance a character role in a ballet where he was playing an old samurai. There was no way we were going to miss seeing that. We stayed in a little budget inn and spent a day on Cannery Row in Monterey. On the main tourist strip, Kate found a wax museum chronicling the history of California. That was an obvious yes. It was one of those places where an audio guide would be set off as you walked through. In the very first room, a light clicked on to reveal the wax figure of our narrator, who introduced himself with a line so curious we have laughed in awe for years to come. And that line was, "Over here, under the lamp, it's me, John Steinbeck." Kate and I would always repeat it to each other with that exact same tone. "Over here, under the lamp, it's me, John Steinbeck." Kate had a deep intellectual wit. She was damn smart. I loved Kate for this and for how silly we could be together. Kate's sense of humor and sharp wit were cutting, at times merciless, but always endearing. She teased all of us like siblings, knowing exactly where to put a jab and then a smile. Her presence has played an integral part in all of our lives, one that will be deeply missed by each and every one of us. So from Jenna, Jonna, Shar, Jake, Rutledge, Flanner, Grant, Dunlop, Ashley, Alexis, Phil, Mario, Beth, Scott, Catherine, and Jan, we love you. And as Charlie would say in rehearsal, one more time, full out with feeling. Thank you.
Thank you to Kate's family for giving us a few moments today to share and celebrate our friend. I'm Itty, and this is Hillary, Nisi, and Amy. We met Kate on the internet when she was about 15. Don't worry, it's much less creepy than it sounds. When Kate was a teenager, she loved the Beatles. She loved them so much that in 1995, she used the exciting new America Online to talk to strangers about them. We were the strangers. We were all around the same age, across the country, doing the exact same thing. There are about 10 of us today. We invaded Beatles chat rooms, argued about who our favorite Beatle was. Kate always had Ringo. And quickly became a tight-knit group of irreverent internet kids with way too many inside jokes. We gave ourselves a name, the Trops. The Trops started emailing each other 23 years ago and have never stopped. As teens, we shared story writing and awful poetry. As we've grown older, we've regularly chronicled our day-to-day lives, the things that annoy us, the things that we love, the things that make us laugh. It's basically like writing in a diary, except that diary can write back. We've seen each other through school, marriage, divorce, kids, and now this. We've never lived near Kate or saw her regularly or hung out with her more than a handful of times, but we talk to her every day, and she's been a core part of all of our lives. So we wanted to share with you the person we knew, the day-to-day Kate, or as we've always called her, Willow.
Yeah, so she told us that her name was Willow. When she was 15, she said she was Willow from Liverpool and that Ringo Starr was friends with her dad and paid for her ballet lessons. None of that, it turns out, was true. Nor was the story she told us about the time that Ringo came to town and chased her around his dressing room with a mango. It took years. Embarrassingly, it took years before we caught on. Itty still doesn't believe that it's not true. It never mattered, though. To us, she's always Willow. She loved to dance. She loved the idea that she could take a feeling, a thought, and turn it into something physical. Sure, her hips hurt and her feet sucked, but it was worth it to her. She saw beauty in human movement, and she dedicated her life to helping other people understand that beauty, too. When she wasn't dancing, she loved to clean and organize and putz around the house. Those are her words. Laundry came before vacuuming, dishes were washed before the kitchen floors. Recently, she even taught Genevieve to Swiffer under the crib, which is pretty smart. She loved Shakespeare, Arby's, beans, naps, and twinkly lights. She loved cooking and her Jetta and the Golden Girls, especially Blanche. She hated cilantro, watermelon, the word epic, and feet-shaped shoes. She had a fish named Sparkle and a cat named Obi that came when she called. Once, she ran into Yo-Yo Ma, literally ran smack into him backstage during a ballet performance. In 2005, she wrote an email about the 2 trees she could see from her apartment window in California. They looked like they were cuddling. She really liked that.
Willow also wrote a lot about her family. She admired her mom for being a feminist. She always turned to her dad for advice. She often wished she and Emma didn't live so far apart. One year, when she couldn't get home to Akron for Christmas, she bought a waffle iron to make galettes, just like her family did, bought stockings just like the ones they had, and recreated all the family traditions herself. And Alec, even before they started dating, he was all she wrote about. Alec was so cute. Alec was such an amazing dancer. And here, did we want to see another picture of him with his shirt off? She liked to wonder what the kids would be like, what kind of life they'd have. And when that dream came true, when they got married and made a home and had the girls, we'd never seen her happier. She shared her whole life with us, and we did the same with her. I have 2 daughters close to Genevieve and Paige's age. It was really unique to be able to talk to another mom every single day and discuss every little detail about the joys and occasional challenges of having 2 girls. When Kate was coming to terms with the fact that she would not be here to see the girls grow up, she asked all of us not to forget them, to stay in their lives. So, Paige and Genevieve, you may not know it yet, but you've been adopted by 10 honorary aunts and uncles from all around the country. Perfect timing. Who have loved you since before you were born. We'll always be here for you the way that your mom was for us.
It's barely been a week since she left. We're still getting used to the idea that she won't be sending us any more emails. It's hard. We miss her. Those of us who wanted to be here today want you to know how desperately they wanted to and how much they cared about Willow, or Kate. What we're saying now, these are their words too.
We've started this habit of sending her old emails around to each other. Remember the time she put a bra on her dog Winston, we'll say? Or when she got a bad haircut and asked if we thought she looked like George Washington, and then we looked at the picture and had to kind of agree she did? That was Willow, or Kate, whatever you want to call her. She was our friend.
Hi, my name is Christopher Estes Brown, and Kate was a longtime friend of mine. Kate's quick wit, engaging intellect, and dry but hilarious sense of humor were only overshadowed by her compassion, reliability, and kindness. She had an undeniable ability to be there for so many people and need so little in return. I had the incredible honor to be Kate's friend for 21 years, but honestly, Kate didn't make friends, she made family. I met her when we were 17 and 18 at a 6-week ballet summer camp, and somehow from there, we formed a lifelong bond that never wavered or faded. I quickly learned that her tough exterior and infamous side-eye served as a balance to her empathy and incomparable ability to listen. I learned of her silly side. Her strange obsession with Ringo Starr, which I'll never get. Her ability to laugh at inappropriate times, and her attraction to short guys. That's a real thing. Eventually, I learned of her adoration and love for Alec, and their dream of having a beautiful family together. She was a dedicated dance professional with a uniquely strong performance quality. She was hardworking. She would undertake the most arduous tasks and complain, but do them really well. After her performance days were behind her, she put that same love and passion into her students. I heard about all of you almost weekly. She loved you all. She loved her family, her mom, her dad, her friend and sister, Emma. She loved her friends, which she had so many and from so many different places. But she, of course, loved her daughters and Alec most of all. During the 21 years of our friendship, we unbelievably only ever lived in the same city for 8 months, and not until we were in our mid-20s. But somehow Kate never felt far. She always felt like she was right there when I needed her, and I could always do the same in return. From landlines way back in the day, long-distance bills, to cell phones and texting, and when life was great, she was there, and when life was tragic, she was there. And honestly, I know she will always be there, inside of all of us, listening and guiding in a way that only she could. Dave had me take 7 dancers from different studios that she taught at, and create a little piece for her to be performed right now. So, when you guys are ready.
Thank you, ladies. Good morning. I'm Heather Pollack. I got to know Kate Lytton just recently. Our daughters attend the same school. I would see Kate walking with Genevieve and Paige to school, and we sort of got to know each other at pickups and drop-offs. But when I really knew she was my people was the day all the moms were in the kitchen of the preschool chopping vegetables for St. Paul's yearly rendition of Stone Soup. As we began to talk, you know how mothers do in the kitchens, I recognized her dad's dry wit and her mom's hearty laugh, the one that lets you know you're in on the joke. And that's when I knew that if those fabled mommy wars ever did show up, that Kate and I would definitely be on the same side. It's a pretty good feeling, because I think we should all face it. People always underestimate dancers. They forget how absolutely hardcore ballet dancers are. I think they let the tutus fool them. But my money is always on women, or a woman, who makes grace with ease on top of broken feet. I think you'll know what I'm talking about here in a minute. Let's let the family get a second to retire from the stage while all of us get a better understanding of what a tremendous performance artist Kate was. These video clips were assembled by the artistic director of the last group that she danced with professionally, Company C in Walnut Creek. Dave says his favorite part comes at the end, where we get to see the wacky, silly, fun side of Kate in a burst of joyous enthusiasm, so you'll want to remain in your seats till the very end. Upon our adjournment, the family will be prepared to greet guests in the grand lobby, where there'll also be refreshments. Please note that the Akron Community Foundation has made envelopes available if you choose to contribute to the newly established Kate Lieberth Lytton Fund for Education and Dance. It'll help support young dancers in summer studies for years to come. The Lieberth and Lytton families thank you for your presence here today and all the support you have shown to them. And now, 8 minutes of Kate.